Hello and good morning and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. Welcome to round 6 of the Max5 Season 8 Championship. We are stateside and we are in the sunny California state where we take on the ever notorious Laguna Seca. So if you are new to us at Max5, this is how it looks. They have 8 rounds consisting of 2 races each round. They'll have a 10 minutes qualifying to determine the grid for the sprint race, which will be a 15-minute race, and then they will have a 30-minute feature race. The point system we are using is our national point system, and they have a drop score of 2 points. So, for qualifying and the sprint, the soft, intermediate or wet tyres are the only tyres available. But for the feature race, the hard tyres are the mandatory tyre, which means they have to use it at least once, unless wet weather is at play, in which they will also count towards the mandatory tyre. The championship is broken up into 3 classes. Red is pro, blue is pro amateur, and yellow is amateur. After 5 rounds, this is how the championship is looking. Big Dan is currently first on 171 points. Racer Brown is second, leading the pros. He's on 155. Guesty is third, also on 155 points. Homesick Alien is fourth on 116 points. Mrs. Guesty is fifth on 98. She is leading the amateurs. Bazza is in 6th on 88 points. He's second for the Pro-Ams. 7th is Pat on 75 points. 8th is Silver Star from what I can see, I think it's 62 points, I could be wrong. 9th is Sharon on 48 points, with Flashman in 10th on 32, with Harvey, Rido, Jocus and Electric. Oh no, that says Rido has 8 points. So, okay, the table is a little bit incorrect. So we'll have a word with the managers about that one. Well, they had their 10-minute qualifier, and this is how it turned out. Guesty takes pole with a 129.8. Big Dan is second. He's just less than a second behind Guesty. Homesick Alien is third, with Bazza in 4th, Pat in 5th, with Mrs. Guesty in 6th, and Silver Star in 7th. So we have a little bit of a smaller grid today. But as we know, just because it's a small grid does not mean that it's not going to be action-packed. So, with all that out of the way, let us go straight to trackside. So here we go then for round 6 at Laguna Seca. It's lights out and off we go, and it looks like it's an incredible start by Big Dan. He's already having a look at Guesty coming up to the first corner, tucking in well, and now he's diving onto the outside, so he's going to have a look round. It's a brave move to do it there if he can. There's squabbling here and there and everywhere. It looks like everybody's all gotten through clearly. And it looks like Baz has managed to move up a little bit there. He's got off to a great start with Mrs. Guesty falling behind a little bit. Oh, that was Bazza losing the back end a little bit. He's got onto the dirt, but he's managed to survive so far. But it looks like Guesty is under a huge amount of pressure from Big Dan. Big Dan's really come alive at the latter stage of this championship. And the fact he's leaning, oh, he's hitting the sausage. You don't want to be hitting those because you're going to go flying. And now Homesick Alien is looking to take advantage of it as we come up to that little kink and left. But it looks like he's thought better of it, and he's let Big Dan through. So Guesty manages to survive for another time. Meanwhile, further back here, Mrs. Guesty has managed to make her way up into 5th. So Pat must have made a small mistake because Silver Star's gotten through. Oh, he's onto the grass. And oh, Pat nearly looks like he lost the back end, and it looks like Pat's livery isn't working once again. So unfortunately we cannot see that beautiful McLaren livery that he's been sporting all season so far. Not quite sure what's going on there. We've got a yellow flag. Oh, that's Guesty. Where is he? He's there somewhere. There he is. Oh no, Guesty. Oh no, what on earth has happened? We will have to have a look. But Guesty unfortunately has come a cropper right when he doesn't need it. Oh no. So Big Dan takes the lead of this race so far, and like I said, he's been coming alive in the latter stages of this series, and it looks like he could be on his way to getting his first championship. How big of an upset would that be? But Homesick Alien is going to be wanting to have words about that. That sounds like there's another spin out. There's a bit of a bang. Who's gone? That's Silver Star, so he's fine. There's Pat as well. He seems fine. Oh, I'm not 100% sure. It might have been between Pat and Silver Star. We're not quite sure. It's all happening so far. And let's have a look further up here. There's Bazza. Bazza's having a look on Homesick Alien. The pro amateurs have come completely alive. Where has this come from? Bazza pulling off some brave moves. Is he going to have a look at Homesick Alien as we come up to the corkscrew? And Dan is proper checking out. He is going. And there's Bazza having a look on the outside of Homesick Alien, going through the corkscrew. Oh, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but it looks like Homesick Alien has managed to survive. Unless Bazza is just redressing. I have a feeling it might have been a redress. But look who's coming to join the party. It's Mrs. Guesty. She wants a piece of this pie. It's like, if you two are going to have a good scrap, I think I'll come in and join you. Let's see what you two boys can do with the might of Mrs. Guesty. Actually doing really well. So in this little three-way train that we have Homesick Alien for the pros. He's not leading the pros. Racer Brown couldn't make this race, so looks like Homesick Alien is going to have to show him how it's all done. We've got Bazza, who's also second in the pro-amateur class, chasing down Homesick Alien, and we've got Mrs. Guesty, who is leading the amateurs, so this is going to do absolute wonders for her. Meanwhile, further back here, as we can see, Guesty has managed to catch up Pat and Silver Star from that little squabble that they had, and he's managed to make his way past them, so he will have to start putting in some monstrous laps, but luckily for him, he's got the sponsors to do it for him. So is he going to live up to that reputation and catch the leaders up? But he has got a mountain to climb, and what a climb it will be. Meanwhile, right at the back here, we have Silver Star and Pat going at it. These two are very close in the championship, so there is all to gain and everything to lose regarding these two. But with Mrs. Guesty taking her in fourth, and looks like Pat was going to have a dive on the outside of the corkscrew. That is a brave move, but Silver Star sees him off, says you're going to have to do better than that, Pat, my friend. You'll have to... Oh no, he must have clipped the sausage, and poor Silver Star has gone. That promotes Pat up to 6th. And I have a feeling Silver Star's going to absolutely hate me. I promise I do not do this on purpose. I swear. Meanwhile, let's have a look at our leader. Big Dan is long and gone. He's going to be putting his foot down. And so far, it's all going swimmingly. This is just going to increase his championship ever more so, because with the absence of Racer Brown, it's advantage Big Dan. Homesick Alien, meanwhile, in second, leading the pros at the moment, but actually, no, he's third for the pros. I'm pretty sure he's either second or third, because I'm sure Guesty's in there somewhere. He might be second, actually. I'm pretty sure he's second. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, it's been one of those days, so I apologise. I'm pretty sure he's second. So Homesick Alien will be wanting to take the lead of the pros. with the absence of Racer Brown. Bazza as well. This is going to go swimmingly for him for the Pro Amateurs. Unfortunately, I think Big Dan is well out of the equation now because he is miles ahead. But as we know, Bazza will not give up without a fight. He is a fighter and he will give it absolutely everything to get every point he can possibly get. Oh, he loses the back end but manages to control it. Well done there, sir. Mrs. Guesty as well in fourth. This is going to be absolutely in the ballpark for her because she's leading the amateurs at the moment, and with her only rivals being Pat and Silverstar all the way in 6th and 7th, she is going to get an even bigger buffer between those two, so it's going absolutely swimmingly for her. But Mr. Guesty is catching up, and I imagine that there isn't going to be much squabbling between these two, although I think Guesty is outside of a championship hope. I'm sure he's in 4th, he's 3rd for the pros, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be out of his reach now, but he'll probably still want to get all the points he can to try and get himself back into this, but it's not gone well for him so far. Pat as well in 6th. He's managed to clear Silverstar now after that little spin, but as we can see, Pat is really struggling with that MX5. I know I said Max5. I keep doing that for some reason. Max5 is the championship. MX5 is the car. I wish I would get that into my brain, but then again, it also tells me to do things that I shouldn't. So, yeah, just ignore that for the time being. So, Silverstar has the mountain to climb after that little spin that he had, but we know what he's like. He will chase down. He will keep chasing. He will keep going as hard as he can to make sure that he can get as many points as he can. But to be fair, in 7th, it's still going to be a decent haul of points. But so far, his rivals are the ones that are coming out on top. Meanwhile, Big Dan, I think he's stretched his lead even more so to Homesick Alien, so he is long and gone. And I don't think Homesick Alien has an answer to his pace. Homesick Alien doing a 1:32.4 on the previous, with Big Dan doing a 31.9. So Big Dan has the pace advantage at the moment, with the fastest lap going to Guesty with a 1:30.9. That's roundabout equivalent to what they were doing in qualifying, give or take a few tenths here and there. So Guesty is the one with the pace, but as we've seen, just a small mistake that we saw from Guesty has cost him big time, and Big Dan is the one to take advantage of it. Bazza as well, still going well in 3rd. This will be another podium for Bazza. He's going to be absolutely loving that. But if we have a look further back here, as we can see, Guesty has caught up Mrs. Guesty, so this is probably the closest action we're going to have on track, and I do wonder if Mrs. Guesty is going to let Mr. Guesty through. I have a feeling she probably wouldn't want to hold him up as much. He might be able to catch Bazza, but we're coming up to the 10-minute mark, and Bazza is only just up the road, so there is an opportunity of a podium for Guesty, but he has really got to put the hammer down. And as you can see, he's crawling. He's just launched up to the back of Mrs. Guesty, and we're going to see if there is going to be team orders between the two. You see, he's having a look. I think she's making him work for it. I think she's making him work for it. You do right, love. You've got a championship of your own to think about, so yeah, go for it. No, Mr. Guesty's pulled the trigger, and boom, there we go. He goes through into 4th, and now he can start catching the Baz. But is he going to do it with less than 5 minutes left? Is he going to be able to close that gap? Once again, it's another mountain for him to climb, but we just have to hope and pray that... I wouldn't say hope and pray, but he'll be hoping and praying. I think that's a more better terms. He'll be hoping and praying that he can catch Bazza and not lose the back end again. And Mrs. Guesty, oh my word, what's happened to Mrs. Guesty? She's dropped right off, because Pat was not that close to her before. I wonder if Mrs. Guest, she must have lost the back end at some point, because Pat was not that close before. So Pat may have been gifted the perfect opportunity here if he's going to have a look at Mrs. Guesty, but he's lost the back end. In fact, he's dropped Silver Star. Oh, Silver Star is a long way back. I wonder if he's had a bit of an off again, because I'm sure he was closer to Pat than that. So either Pat has found a warp speed button, which has seen him catapult all the way up to Mrs. Guesty, or Mrs. Guesty and the Silver Star have had an off. Questions for later. But meanwhile, Big Dan still leading this race, although his front right tyre is absolutely begging for mercy. There's not much left on it. As we can see, Homesick Alien, he does have a little bit more meat left. But is it going to be enough to mount an attack on Big Dan? It's all going to be down to if he can find the grip that isn't there in that front right. Let's not forget Laguna Seca is incredibly punishing on the front right tyres, and as we know, Big Dan is his tyre preservation isn't the strongest on the field, but as we know, he is on a controller and he can do it. He can really run that MX5 on a controller right round the ringer. All credit to him. It's absolutely incredible stuff. Really showing the wheel users how it is to handle a Max5. You've got to wring the living daylights out of it to get the max out of it. No pun intended, I promise. Meanwhile, further back here, Bazza's still holding out in third, but look who's coming for him. It is the Guesty. It is an incredible drive from Guesty because he's managed to recatch Bazza. He was well behind the pack after the little spin that he must have had, and he's going to have a look. I thought he was going to do the same move that he did with Mrs. Guesty, but he's obviously thought better of it. But he's going to have to make some moves at some point or another, because like Big Dan, he also goes through a set of tyres. And oh no, that's Bazza that's gone wide. He's found the kitty litter, and Guesty's surely going to take advantage of that. Yes, he does. They're going to go too wide through the corkscrew. You brave nutters. Good Lord, you brave nutters. But it looks like they've managed to execute it really well, because they've come through without scathing each other, and I don't think I see any trading of paint either, so they've managed to execute that quite significantly, very well. But is Bazza going to be able to come back at him? He is not letting Guesty get away with it quite so easily. In fact, I think Guesty must have gotten a poor exit because Bazza's taking him back. So this is where it is at the moment. It's Bazza versus Guesty. And who's going to come out on top of this one, I wonder, because Bazza will not want to give up that podium. They've been few and far between, and he'd love to get another little bit of silverware to take. Oh God, it's happening already. Oh boy. Right, shall we see if we can try this again? I'm pretty sure Bazza would love to take another little bit of silverware back to Belgium with him. There we go, I managed to say it. Hooray for me. Oh dear, it looks like there was a little bit of knot there, and Bazza's been forced onto the kitty litter. But as we can see, Guesty is redressing and waiting for the Bazza. That is what we love to see. The bit of sportsmanship, that's the word. That's the word I'm looking for. The lovely little bit of sportsmanship between them. It looks like Bazza's gone wide again. The tyre must be dead. The tyre is dead, but so is Guesty as well. But we'll have to cut back to Big Dan, because a little bit of fortune on his side, but it is the name of the game. In order to win, you've got to keep it on the black stuff, and Big Dan has punished Guesty for it as he comes home to take the win. Homesick Alien comes home in second. No answer for Big Dan, but he'll still be pleased with the second. Guesty did get Bazza in the end, but you have to say he did have the pace. I wonder if he's kicking himself in that cockpit because it was all for him to grab, but just the tiny mistake sees him finishes in third, with Bazza coming home in fourth. Mrs. Guesty manages to stay ahead of her two rivals in the amateur championship. She takes fifth, with Pat coming home in sixth. A hard-fought drive for him. It's been tooth and nail between him and Silver Star, but it's all paid off for sixth. And Silver Star will have to lick his wounds and come back for the feature race, but he takes seventh. So here we go then for the feature race. As we know, it is the race one results reversed, so Silver Star is leading us off. There's the green light and off he goes. So let's have a quick look through them. Silver Star starting on the hards, Pat's on the hard, Mrs. Guesty's on the hard, Bazza's on the hard, Guesty's on the hards, Homesick Aliens on the hards, and Big Dan is on the hards. So they've all gone for the hards early doors, but considering the high tyre wear they had of the softs, that is no surprise. And that's Pat having a look at Silver Star early doors, but Silver Star does the old switcheroo with him, and he manages to keep hold of that first place so far. Further back we've got Mrs. Guesty holding well in first. That's Guesty going up into fourth. I think I saw Bazza going wide a little bit there, and there's Homesick Alien to take advantage of that. So far Bazza is the biggest loser of them all, as he's dropping like a brick. He's not used to them hards. Oh, he's lost the back end as well. Oh, poor Bazza, it's just not working out for him now, and now he's the one with the mountain to climb. He's got damage. He's nearly pointing in the right direction, but I'm pretty sure he'll get going soon enough. But so far going through the corkscrew, it looks like Silver Star went a little bit wide. Oh no, Pat must have gone into him. Oh no, it's all the calamity has happened. Pat is redressing, I think. Well, he looks like he's slowed right down, but that's Mrs. Guesty taking the lead of this race, and look who she's got for a rear gunner. It's Guesty, but he's not hanging around. He's got a championship to fight off, and here's Homesick Alien having a look as well. Big Dan's moved up into fourth. He started last at the start of this race, and he's moved up to fourth already, and he's having a look at Mrs. Guesty as we finish the first lap. It's pretty much a reverse of what has gone on, with the exception of Bazza, but that was just unfortunate. Look, and as we can see, Big Dan just dives down the inside of Mrs. Guesty to take that third place. Bear in mind, he's got a championship lead to think of, so he's not going to be wanting to let Guesty or Homesick Alien get away so easily. But as we saw in the first race, Guesty is the one with the pace, but Big Dan also has it as well. He had it over the pace regarding Homesick Alien, so I'd expect him to make moves on Homesick Alien fairly soon. But Mrs. Guesty so far sitting pretty in fourth. Silver Star up to fifth after that unfortunate spin that he had with Pat. I think he did redress because he's now behind. So once again, great sportsmanship to see at work here at Laguna Seca, and Bazza as well. He's not actually that far behind Pat, and as soon as I said that, he's found the kitty litter again. Oh, Pat doing a few 360s there. Wonderfully caught though. I tell you what, tops to that. He caught that really well. But I think not Pat. Oh no, who's gone off? Oh, it's Pat. Pat's gone wide. So it's all happening. They're not used to the hards here. So Silver Star can now breathe a sigh of relief, as now he can start chasing down Mrs. Guesty. Further up front though, as we can see, Big Dan not letting those three get ahead of him. Homesick Alien has been struggling with the pace of the MX5 for the majority of this season. He has absolutely no answer to Big Dan at the moment. He's really come alive, as we've mentioned, but he's not letting Guesty have his own way completely. He's still in sight. One small mistake from Guesty and he is going to take advantage of it. And as we have seen, Guesty has fallen cropper to the trickiness of the MX5, and there's no telling if it will happen again. So as long as he keeps it pointing in the right direction and not go full wham, I'm sure he'll be fine as Larry. But Homesick Alien, he just cannot shift Big Dan at all. He has no answers. Oh, a bit of a wiggle there from Homesick Alien, and Big Dan has managed to catch right up. So now Big Dan is in striking range, but is he going to be able to pounce when it matters the most? We know that he'll be able to find the pace from somewhere, but can Homesick Alien hold him off? I wonder. We will have to keep an eye on that one. Mrs. Guesty still going well in fourth, but she can't afford to lapse in concentration at any point, because Silver Star is chasing her down and chasing hard. With the exception of the first lap, this is a good turnaround from Silver Star, and I've probably cursed him by saying that, but as long as he keeps a clear head, he should be well and truly fine. He's completely dropped Pat, but as we saw, he had a little bit of a hiccup. So now he's the one that's got to play catch up, and Bazza as well. It's just not going well for him in this feature race, but he can still catch up. People could still make mistakes. So it's not over yet, because we've still got another 25 minutes to go. It could all still happen. There is no telling. But Guesty so far still sitting pretty in the lead at the moment. Homesick Alien unable to shift the monstrous Big Dan, who has really found some pace, and he's really taking it to the pros. I don't know where he's found this magic juice from, but he is certainly using it to his full advantage. He'll be happy with the third at the moment. He's not losing out on many points, and with no Racer Brown, that's just going to extend his championship even more so. And he's going to be absolutely loving it. Silver Star must have had a small hiccup. I think he has, because his previous lap was a 1:34, and Pat was not that close to him. As soon as I saw that, I saw Pat having a wiggle there. But Silver Star, yes, we can see he must have had a little bit of a hiccup somewhere, because he is completely dropped off of Mrs. Guesty and is falling back into the clutches of Pat, which he really won't want to do, considering the fact of those two are hard at it in the Amateur Championship, which Mrs. Guesty is leading at the moment, and they don't want to drop that many points to her. Bazza is getting a little bit closer to Pat, so he is finding the grip out there as long as he keeps it pointing in the right direction. Oh, he's gone a little bit deep there, but he's managed to keep it going. So you get in there, Bazza. Maybe you're just not used to the hard tyres, eh? Not used to the hards on that. Giggity. Guesty as well. He's absolutely leaving the fastest lap so far as well. He did get the fastest lap in the sprint race, should I say, so that will be one extra point to help him out. This will be another extra point for him. As long as he can keep it going as well, he's going to get some good points in the feature race at the moment. But as we can see further back here, it's all happening here. Homesick Alien, just no answer to the onslaught of Big Dan's attacks. But as we can see, Homesick Alien is just absorbing all that pressure. It doesn't matter how much pressure you try putting on a Homesick Alien, this man rarely buckles. And I can easily say that from experience. You need to put on a galaxy-sized amount of pressure to make this man buckle. And even then, it's only on the rare occasion. As Big Dan is finding out, he just cannot get a mistake from the Homesick of Aliens. But Still sitting third. That's still going to be good for him. It'll be another podium for him. Most likely like a win, but he did win the sprint. So it's not all that bad as long as it stays as it is. Mrs. Guesty still going well in fourth. Silver Star still going in fifth. In fact, he's managed to actually catch Mrs. Guesty up. So Silver Star does have the pace. He's done a 1:34.2. It's his fastest lap so far, with Mrs. Guesty doing a 1:36. So, as we can see, Silver Star does have the pace to start catching up Mrs. Guesty. It's just the tiny little mistakes that are setting him back. I'll tell you what, if he could iron out those mistakes, the man would be a force to be reckoned with. And I've done it again because he'll think I'm doing this on purpose. But is Pat going to be able to take advantage of the tiny mistake from Silver Star? I don't think he has. I think he's got moving again. Yes, he has got moving again. Bazza as well. He's still struggling as well, but he is slowly catching up Pat. He might even pull a tactical advantage here. As we know, he's quite adept at the strategy. Maybe not in racing, but the man can think quickly on his feet. So he might be able to think of a way of getting himself back into this. We will have to wait and see. Let's cut back to these two, because this is where the fight is at the moment. But so far, Big Dan can't find a chink in the alien's armor, and he's just taking it all up, saying, is this the best you can do, lad? Come on, you're gonna have to do better than that. Oh no, there we go, it finally happened, and Big Dan has a little bit of a little bit of a drift to celebrate. Sorry, I had to. Oh dear, so Homesick Alien just loses the back end on the corkscrew and has seen him drop down into third. So Laguna Seca really is taking no prisoners so far. It's surprised Guesty, and now it's surprised Homesick Alien. It's surprised a few other as well, but I'm not going to mention them because I think he'd wring my neck. I think so far, I think Big Dan and Mrs. Guesty are the only ones that haven't played foul to the ways of Laguna Seca. I could be wrong. They might have done it when I've not really focused on them. So take that as you will. Pat pulls the trigger first. He's gone into the pits. I'd say that was reasonably early. Now, is he going to put on the mediums? I'd say the softs. Well, the softs will probably get into the end. Oh, no, they won't actually, because they were pretty much dead after 15 minutes. So I imagine mediums would be the best way to go. We will have to wait and see. But he is the first to pull the trigger. So we're going to see if there is going to be any response from Silver Star or Mrs. Guesty. But so far, Jose Alien has managed to catch up Big Dan. So it's now all on Big Dan. He's the one that's got to soak up all the pressure. His Pat is coming out. It's not telling me his tyres yet. Oh, there we go. No, there we are. He has gone onto the mediums. I'd say that is a pretty good choice considering the softs were dead after 15 minutes. So I think mediums is indeed the correct call. But so far, Guesty not going in. Dan or Homesick Alien not going in. Mrs. Guesty, I have a feeling she won't, and she does not. But what about Silver Star? Is Silver Star going to dive in to cover off Pat? I wonder. He must have seen that Pat has come in and put on the mediums. No, he carries on. So Pat, so far the only one to come in to change onto the mediums, has got a real good chance of being able to get ahead of Silver Star and Mrs. Guesty. I'm pretty sure Bazza would like to come in pretty soon so he can get rid of these hards and finally have some grip. But so far at the moment, this is the action on track at the moment between our championship leader Big Dan and Homesick Alien, who is third and second for the pros. You wouldn't think that Big Dan is classed as a pro-amateur. The rate he's able to go so far, but is Homesick Alien going to pull the trigger? No, not in the corkscrew. Surely that would take a very big brave pill, but it looks like Big Dan went a little bit deep there, but managed to keep it pointing in the right direction and keep it out of the gravel. So it's not the end of the world. Neither one of these two picked either, so they're waiting patiently for those mediums. They'll know that'll get them to the end, unless they are going long on these hards so they can stick on the softs. But as we can see, Homesick Alien having a look, going down the start finish straight, and he's got the inside line coming up to the first corner. Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? It looks like it was Big Dan. Is he going to do the old switcheroo? No. Homesick Alien covers him off and retakes that second place. So now he's just got to keep it pointing in the right direction and hope and pray the car doesn't snap on him once again. And with all this fighting, Guesty is long and gone. He's in full control of this race. So now he's the only person to beat now is himself. I suppose technically he thinks he could probably beat the MX5 because it is a bit of a tricky little devil. So we'll have to see if anything comes a cropper for him. Mrs. Guesty still going well in fourth. Sorry, she is not pitting yet. Neither is Silver Star. I wonder if the majority of these guys are holding on for as long as they can so they can stick the softs on it, because if that is the case, Pat is going to be in some real trouble. Because the mediums, while he's got the extra grip at the moment, he probably is catching batter, but it's gone deep a little bit, but he's avoided going into the gravel, but that's not going to be helping him out. As you can see, he's did a 1:34.2. That's his fastest lap so far. He's found the gravel. That's not going to be helping him out. As we can see, a 1:34.2 from Silver Star on hard. So far at the moment, Pat is not able to take full advantage of those medium tyres, and I suspect that is what everybody is doing. They're waiting maybe for the 20-minute mark to put on the softs to see him all the way to the end. I suppose that would be one way to do it. Pit early and go on to the mediums. That will get you to the end. Or go longer on the hards and go on to the softs. And that's what I am going to go with. They're all going to wait patiently to go on the softs. They're taking the pain of the hards. Early doors, I suppose that would have been one strategy as well, to start on the softs, go on to the hards. But Big Dan's found the litter, but he's fine. He's kept it going in the right direction. Wow, I bet his heart jumped into his throat with that one, but he's managed to keep it together, and he has lost a little bit of time to Homesick Alien, but there is also still time for things to go horribly north or south, so it is not the end of the world. The top three still have not pitted yet. Mrs. Guesty, I have a feeling she's going to go long into this race to go on to the softs. That will cover off Pat. But the question is, has Pat put in the lap times to catch these down? One would say no, because he did so far his fastest is a 1:34.2. His previous lap was a 1:35.4. With Silver Star doing a 34.6. In fact, he's been, if you ignore lap 8, he's done 3 laps in the 1:34s. Let's see what he gets out of this one. Is it another 1:34? It is. So Silver Star being quite consistent, doing the 1:34s, with Mrs. Guesty doing the 1:36, 1:37s, which on the hards, I'd say that's round about the right pace for us. She's not pushing those hards to the limit. She is losing time to Silver Star, but she's keeping it out of trouble, keeping it in the right direction, and that's realistically all you need to do. I mean, she's in 4th at the moment, and she is being hunted down by Silver Star, as we can see in the background, but by making no mistakes, she's the one in control at the moment. In fact, even going slowly, avoiding all mistakes. And she's currently leading the amateurs, as we know. So there you go. Just keeping it nice and clean and, well, I'd say mistake-free. I think that's more important. Keeping it mistake-free has all paid off. But the top three still not pitting. I wonder if they're waiting for the 20-minute mark. Let's see if Mrs. Guesty pits in at all. Now may be a good time, because I think... Oh, no, that's Bazza. I thought that's Pat for some reason. No, she doesn't pit either. Does Silver Star pit? No, he doesn't. Is Bazza going to pit? We will see. This is the waiting game now of who is going to be the next to pull the trigger. And it's not Bazza. So this is the waiting game now on who is going to be the first to pull the trigger. That's something like Homesick Alien squiggling, but it's all fine. Same with Big Dan. Nope, we're all pointing in the right direction, so all is fine and well. But who's going to be the bravest to put the softs on first? They're going to have, unless they follow each other in, one of them is going to get a huge advantage out of this, and unfortunately somebody else might get punished for it. We're on the 20-minute mark now. Guesty does not pit. Does Homesick Alien? No, he doesn't. Does Big Dan? No. Is it possible to do a no-stopper? I mean, they've got a decent amount of fuel. The tyres may hold out. And let's not forget, at Laguna Seca, it is a very, very long pit stop. And you lose a lot of time. You just have to look at Pat when we find him. There he is. He lost a lot of ground to his championship competitors by sticking on the mediums. And he's not being able to find much ground. As you can see, he's done a 132.6 now. So he's done roughly the same amount as 34.2. 32. Yeah, so now he is fast. He's now recorded a faster lap than Silver Star. So at the moment, it's advantage Pat, but he has got a lot of ground to cover. In fact, there's one way to find out, actually. Who's the best for there? I'd say it was Homesick Alien. So he is short shifting, so he's not pushing that Max5 to the absolute limit. So he is fuel saving. So my guess is that they're going to do a no-stopper, in which Pat is the only one that has. What about Mrs. Guesty? She's down to a quarter of a tank. Silver Star's over a quarter. Pat, he's got an absolute ton of fuel, so he's gonna go full whammy the whole way. So it looks like strategy may not be on the cards. It's going to be all about looking after the tyres and the fuel to do a no-stopper. Which I'd say at the moment probably is the right strategy, to be fair. If they can make the fuel and the tyres last, then yeah, why not? Oh, there we go. Mrs. Guesty's pulling the trigger, so she's definitely going on to the softs. So the question is Silver Star going to go on to the softs? Because is he going to even pit? He's keeping up a fairly decent consistency, so if he's happy with the hards, then why not? But so far, Mrs. Guesty and Pat are the only ones to brave a pit stop. Where's Pat in this? Because he must have done some, as you can see, 133, 133. So he's been putting in the lap times way quicker than Mrs. Guesty. She is in her box now. Is she going to stick any fuel in? The fuel's going in. I can hear Pat going down the main straight, but no, Mrs. Guesty's beating her out. As we're coming down to, because you cut the first corner, and there you go. She has gone onto the soft, so she probably wasn't too happy with those hards. So Mrs. Guesty is now the one with the pace, and Pat must be absolutely gutted. all those little mistakes he's been making, and unfortunately he's not been able to take advantage of it. And now, oh, Mrs. Guesty, oh, the cold tyres have kicked in. The cold tyres, so he's caught everybody out now. Oh my word. Laguna Seca is really taking no prisoners whatsoever. So now it's going to be all down to Silverstar. Is he going to be brave enough to go for a pit, or is he going to go with a no stopper? We know he can look after a set of tyres, so that's not an issue, but is he fuel saving? I suspect he is. He's short shifting, so I think he's going for a no stopper along with the top 4. In fact, it'll be the top 5, because I don't think Baz is going to pit, but he's got a quarter of a tank. Silverstar's got less than a quarter, so Baz has been really looking after that fuel. So that's probably going to see him to the end. Guesty's normally the worst one for fuel, and as we can see, he's under a quarter, so I guess they're not pitting. So if they're going for a no stopper, they're taking it all the way. In fact, who's that further up? Was that Mrs. Guesty? It is Mrs. Guesty. Oh, mind you, she had that spin, didn't she? Bless her. It's the dangers of cold tyres. But so far, it's all going Guesty's way. The spin from race 1 has put it behind him, and he's driven absolutely flawlessly. And it looks like the win is in the bag for Guesty, barring any mistakes. Homesick Alien is chasing him down hard. Let's not forget that Guesty can go through a set of tyres quite easily, so I'm pretty sure Homesick will be praying that he's burnt out his tyres. Big Dan as well, he's usually a tyre destroyer. I think he's the worst out of the top 3, he is. But if he's managed to get the hards to go all the way, that is clear to show that the hards and a no stopper was the way to go. Silverstar in 4th, he's going to be quite happy with this one. If things stay the way they are, he could be quite close to Mrs. Guesty in respects to the Amateur Championship. We will have to wait and see. Bazza as well, going in 5th. The no stopper so far is holding out well for him. The few wiggles he had at the start of the race has now decided to follow on suit and do a no stopper. And so far it's coming up swimmingly. The only 2 pitters is Pat and Mrs. Guesty, and they're down in 6th and 7th. So what does that tell you? Don't you? We have to remember that pit stops aren't mandatory. As long as they put on the hard tyres, that's all they need to do. And with the majority of them doing a no stopper, it's come out swimmingly for these guys, but they've all seemed to be just winding down now. There's less than 2 minutes to go. Barring any mistakes, it looks like this is how it could finish, which this will definitely motivate Guesty as well. With another win in the bag, he's had a handful this season already. Homesick Alien in 2nd. He's been struggling, but he's stayed with them throughout the majority of this championship. He's ahead of Guesty in the championship, and I feel that's going to be the exact same at the end of this one. Big Dan as well in 3rd. I think he's going to be happy with the 3rd. He hasn't dropped many points to... In fact, I don't think he'll drop much to Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien having 2 seconds. I think they'll be even on points, personally. But having said that, I've just noticed that Big Dan's got the fastest lap, so he's getting the extra point. So Big Dan won't drop any points. If anything, he'll get 1 point over Homesick Alien. Guesty as well. Oh no, Guesty's fuel is flashing, so I think he's the only one that is. Oh yeah, I did say earlier that, well, as we know, Guesty, he's quite thirsty on his fuel, so I suspect he will be the worst one of them all. Big Dan's tank's now flashing, so he's used a bit. Silver Star as well. In fact, he's got the worst out of all of them. So Silver Star, his 4th place. But mind you, with it being, this will be his last lap without a doubt. So I think he should have enough to get to the end. Pat's got plenty of fuel. Mrs. Guesty's also got plenty of fuel. So I think the top 3 are going to get another lap, so it's not over for these 3. They still have 1 to go. In fact, Homesick Alien is managing to catch up. Guesty, he's near enough all the way over the back of him. And we're going to see a final lap shootout between Guesty and Homesick Alien. Oh, hold on to your bridges and your coffees, lads and ladies. This one might not be over and done with just yet. I think we're going to get a final lap showdown between Guesty and Homesick Alien. I wonder if Guesty's actually having to fuel save a little bit because he hasn't got enough to get to the end. Is this going to be the curse of Guesty all over again? As we know, he goes through a lot of fuel and he just loses it all on the last lap. And it looks like it could be the same again. So he could be fuel saving. Well, extreme fuel saving. That's probably where the gap's decreased, because he's having to fuel save. It's not over yet. In fact, the checker flag has dropped. They're going to get another lap. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, now he's got the checker flag. Yeah, thank you very much. So Silver Star finishes in 4th. Bazza comes home in 5th. It's a good recovery drive with the no stopper. With Pat coming home in 2nd. Oh, quick check on Lee. I'll come back to you in a minute. It looks like that Guesty is going to manage to hang on as Pat comes through. The strategy didn't work for him. He finishes in 6th. Mrs. Guesty as well. The softs didn't work for her, unfortunately. She comes home in 7th. Let's go back to the lead. It looks like Guesty has just managed to survive, but there's nothing left in the tank. He pushed it to the absolute limit, but he still takes the win. Homesick Alien crosses the line. He finishes in 2nd, and Big Dan rounds off the podium. He takes 3rd. So after all that, Big Dan remains top of the championship on 207 points. Guesty moves up into 2nd with 193 points. Racer Brown dropping down to 3rd on 155, but he has missed that round, so that will be the reason why. In 4th is Homesick Alien on 150 points. In 5th, leading the amateurs, is Mrs. Guesty on 118 points. Bazza is 6th on 112 points. Silver Star on 104, he's in 7th. 8th is Pat on 95. Sharon on 48. Flashman in 10th on 32, and Rido is in 12th with 8 points. With Harvey, Jocus and Electric all still struggling to get to the events, but as we said, we think they've been having troubles recently. And that is the end of round 6. And I certainly hope you have enjoyed those set of races from those guys. If you did, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to us here at the Virtual Racers Club. Or if you want to be a part of us, then a link in the description to our Discord. It will send you straight there. Just get yourself signed up, get yourself a race number and come and join in. And with that, I will leave you to the rest of your day. Thank you very much for turning up and watching this race. I have been your broadcaster and commentator, insert comical name here, and we'll hopefully see you for round 7.